It's spring, which means a lot of work, but a lot of anticipation for good things to come. So come with us on a tour of the homestead. We've got some great ideas, some things that we're implementing, and most of all, we want to make sure that no matter what happens in this crazy world, we can take care of our family. Hey, Provident Preppers, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Kylene, and springtime is such an exciting time of year. We have all kinds of little projects going on because our goal is to be able to provide as much food for our family as we can off of this little homestead. So today we're going to take you on a little walkabout and hopefully you'll enjoy it. But we just have so many little projects and I'm going to be talking behind the camera, so come join us. Okay, first of all, let's start in the front yard because we are making some big changes here. This all used to be turf behind me, but our city recently is going through the process of raising all the water rates. And quite frankly, financially, we can't afford the water. And then on the other hand, it doesn't make sense to use the water for things that we can't eat. So what we're doing here is we're going to have a little bit of turf right here in the front, just a little bit, but that turf is going to be a combination of microclover and creeping red fescue, like what we planted in the back last year, that takes about 70% less water. And so that's a really good thing. But right back here, we're just going to turn that more into our little food forest, kind of like what we have going on right behind you. So let's go look at that. This is the little food forest that we planted last fall, and it's looking really good. Remember, I got most of these plants on clearance, but this is a really cute little honeyberry. This right here is a little hazelnut that's coming in. We've got all kinds of things. The daffodils, I'm going to actually move those. They're super pretty, but I'm going to move those over and plant them around the little fig trees I have, try and keep the gophers out of there. This is a type of bush cherry that was new to me. It's a Romeo cherry, and it's really pretty, but this whole area really should start to pop in about 2 years. We ordered a bunch of plants from Hartman's Nursery. They're a wholesale nursery, and the reason why we ordered it from them is because it's significantly cheaper. So right here I have my little nursery growing of all these plants. They're just getting used to the sun. I just repotted them so that they could get a little bit stronger and so that I didn't have to do everything right away. If you see these bare root seedlings, we purchased them from a local conservation district sale, and that's a great way to get seedlings because they were like $3.50 a piece. All these other plants that you see here, the most I paid for any of them was $5. And Hartman's, they have all kinds of fruit-bearing plants, right? You can buy them one at a time, but if you do, they're much more expensive. But what I did is I got a group of friends together and we all ordered some so that we could get the wholesale price. The strawberries that I have in the raised bed all kind of got crowded out, and so they don't produce as well anymore. So what I did here is I just transplanted them, and now these should all do really well this year. And I can plant other things in between them too, taller things, because strawberries are a really good ground cover. Now, the really fun thing about having a garden that you don't have to plant every year, don't get me wrong, I plant a lot of stuff in here, but this lettuce is just coming up because it reseeded, and all these poppies, they just reseeded. The chives that are right there, I've already used them. This is so fun. First thing in the spring that comes up is those chives. I have my spinach coming up, and of course the garlic. The garlic is always planted in the fall, so it just faithfully comes back up. So those were all things from our little kitchen garden that we have fenced because of Athena, who is a very naughty, loving golden retriever. But now right here, I've transplanted all kinds of stuff into this bark. This is echinacea. You can see it's just starting to come through. That's a little hardy kiwi over there. But the goal is for all of this to be food bearing. And then we have this little concrete pad that we poured, and we put this fire pit in here. So this is a new addition for us. And all we did, we bought these bricks and then we dry stacked them. And I want to be able to cook out here. I want to be able to dispose of my trash out here. and also burn some of my clippings as I want. So it's a great family fun area now, but it's a wonderful way to make sure we have the fire contained, but we have the ability to burn outdoors whenever we need to.
And one of my big, least favorite jobs is gopher control. Gophers are such a menace. I don't know why they exist, but they do. I'm battling, it's not clear right now who's the winner, but I'm battling this, and we're hoping to get this under control because they do so much damage. I've tried traps, I've tried the gopher hawk, I've tried gopher bombs, I've tried poison, and we'll see. We'll see if any of these work, but it's been a sore battle and made me want to say naughty words.
Right here, these are goji berries. One of the things that I love about them, these happen to be Phoenix tears, it's that they just kind of grow like crazy, right? And some of these will have to be transplanted, and I'll give them to friends or whatever because I want to keep this hedge contained. But the animals love it, and even the leaves are highly nutritious. They're not the most flavorful, but they're just a great plant. Right behind there we have a serviceberry, and pretty soon that'll be bearing. And here's a little apple tree that's tucked in here. Everything's just designed so that it will all grow and work together. So right here we have the hedge that's all apple trees with all kinds of medicinal plants and insectaries and things planted underneath there. Then there's blackberries here, and these are cherry bushes right there. This is a honey locust tree, and the reason why we have those in the garden is because they fix nitrogen into the soil and help it to produce better. So everywhere you look, you're going to find different edibles. Right there is a rhubarb, and right through here, you can't see it, but there's a asparagus patch that should be coming up. This is our production garden. The first garden we were in was our kitchen garden, but this one is intended to produce lots of food. This, I've planted my little broccoli and cauliflower and some of those plants already, and I've got my little onions transplanted in here. And all of these strawberries were ones that I transplanted from another strawberry patch, just because that patch gets so crowded, kind of like what I showed you before. I love this little grow tunnel that we have. All it is cattle panels that we have stretched over the top. We've just bent them over, and it's a great way. A lot of times we have squash growing in here and beans and things like that. Right here are blackberries. These are freedom blackberries. They grow on the first year wood, so every year you just cut them down and they will grow up, and we will have them on the side of this grow tunnel. And on the other side we've got stuff growing, beans and squash and stuff. And these are all garlic that we planted last year. Now check this out. These are red raspberries, and yep, that's rabbit manure. That's where it gets to go, so that we've got all this good healthy stuff. I'm trying something a little bit new this year in that this cattle panel is across the center. So last year we just had the strings across the center, but this is a 4-foot row, and it just didn't seem to be able to keep the berries up because Athena would run through the middle of this. Athena's the dog, and wreak havoc. These are elderberries, and they grow into this amazing hedge. I really cut them back this year. I'm trying to keep them under control, but I love the sidewalks that we poured because it makes sure that I don't have to do anything to keep these raspberries under control other than keep them pruned. This is our little leaf mulch area, our little compost area that is in need of some love. And these are wood chips that my sweet, sweet husband has begged for me. And so all of these wood chips will end up being spread out. And that's one of the ways that we conserve a lot of water, is just with this amazing amount of wood chips.
Soon we'll be getting our tomato plants out here, and they go in these cages, and we have these water cooler bottles that we've cut the bottom out of. These make just a great little greenhouse that will protect those plants. Then we can, when we need to raise that up during the day, if it's a beautiful day, we can just put that up and let these plants continue to grow, but keep these here so that we can cover quickly if we need to. And this is lumber for more retaining walls. Now, not excited about building these. They're a lot of work, but they do create a lot of really great grow space. This is where that retaining wall will go, and you can see the last section of retaining wall that we put in back there and how that creates, instead of just a hill that's hard to manage, it creates a nice flat growing space. And we've already got some drip line down here, and it's just going to turn that into another great patch for growing tomatoes or whatever on those nice spots.
This is just back where we keep our rabbits, and we've made it into this really cool little place. In the summertime, there'll be grapes that are covering these archways and some flowers, like here's clematis that'll cover it. But right now, obviously, elderberry was pruned and we haven't finished picking up the prunings. That's just part of it. But these elderberries will grow huge, but they definitely needed a haircut. Look how beautiful. This is a Hall's Hardy almond tree, and it grows in our climate, which is zone 6. So that's great for an almond tree. And this is our little orchard where the chickens all free range, but we have this border that goes all the way around it. Another Hall's Hardy almond tree. And we've got currant bushes, all kinds of things you can see behind. All of these should have already been pruned by now, and they are not. But the nice thing about having those chickens in the orchard is that they make sure that there's never any weeds in there. These are blackberries that are all along this edge, and all these clusters kind of look like grass. They're actually garlic. And I have yarrow. This is valerian. So, and in here I've got different mints growing. I know it looks like a mess right now, but it will be absolutely beautiful soon. This right here is one of my projects for all of those plants that you saw. All of this needs to be turned into the food forest. This is the little kids' swing set and play area that we did for the grandkids, and this is all a hugel bed. What we need to do is plant it. It suffered a rough life. But in here, there'll be a basketball standard right here. And all under here, we've got all kinds of different plants that will grow on the ground, as well as vining up and over this fence that's a little bit ugly, but it keeps the basketball, or the tent is to keep the basketball from going into the orchard. And all of these trees right here need to be cut down. They got some kind of a bug that killed them all. They were peach trees, and it's another thing on the project, part of what happens, right? These are new raspberries that we planted this year. And the reason why we planted so many raspberries is because if I have to barter with my friends or neighbors, what do you think they're going to want? More zucchini or raspberries?
These are a couple of the root cellars. This one's new, that one's old. I'm building covers for them so that they'll just be a lot easier to access.
These are Russian almonds, and they are just incredibly beautiful in the spring. And they produce a nut, but the nut is a little bit bitter. I'd much rather have a regular almond, but it's a really good thing to have food just growing. Do you see all this that needs to be planted? And these are our newest little batch of chicks. We're just using this little guinea house as a little brooder area so that they don't have to be in the house. And think about it, eggs, lots and lots of eggs. These sidewalks are a new addition, specifically for me, so that mobility isn't quite as much of an issue with the MS. But see this hill here and all this that's being dug out? This will all be put into food forest. So I'm totally excited to see, not only will it add beauty, but we're using something that can produce food, right, for our family. It might not be much depending on what the plants are, but food or medicine, and yet it should take little water because of the way that we're doing it. Should be awesome. See those happy chickens right there? They are living the dream. So this is the chicken house. Definitely needs to be cleaned out from winter, their water. And we have a new feeder that's much better than those feeders, and we'll tell you about that in a new video. But we have this fantastic box for them to lay in, and look, we have some rebellious chicks. And these two little beds are more raspberries, and that is where we keep the chicken feed. So that's how the chicks access this food forest, or this orchard. They're very happy. We dump the scraps right over there, so they like to congregate over there. And pardon the cardboard that's all over in here, but this is that little orchard where they all get to play and have fun and live a good life as chickens.
And finally, these are a couple of the racks that we got. We got 4 of these. We were looking at a yard sale and they had these, and it's like, what could we use it for? And then it's like, duh, this is great. This allows us to put all these plants on here, roll them out during the day when they can get sun and some air movement, and then we roll them away at night to protect them from frost. So this has been a really great investment and very inexpensive. So that's a few of the things that we have going on our homestead. Hopefully you've got some things going on yours. So tell us what that is. Comment below, and thanks for being part of the solution.